punching me in the face, asking me to open my phone so that they can delete whatever photos and videos. And I said I'll not open it. And then they kept inflicting their pain on me. So at some point, I just opened the phone for them. Yeah. And then Jalil himself was there. He was at the scene in the beginning. He was next to us. I saw his face in the car. He got down. And then when we got to the station, he even himself attempted to slap me when we were there. And my uncle told him that, oh, don't you, like, even when we got there, the police officers who were on the site at Sakasaka, they told him that, but don't you know that that's the guy from Red Clay, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, the one that was given the diplomatic pass. When they said, oh, we don't care, diplomatic, my foot. And then they said, oh, but that's Alai Savannah. And so, but they even said, oh, Alai Savannah, what's his contribution to the party? Don't you know how we suffered for the party? And then what nonsense are you talking about? So at that point, I realized that there was actually no hope. We didn't have a phone, nothing. We couldn't do anything. And in that midst, where my uncle was trying to defend, like telling them that, okay, because when you're in a situation like this, many things happen. And you like to plead your way out of it. So my uncle was just saying that, okay, if you think we've offended you in any way, just let us go. Just grant us bail so that we can go, because you see my boss is hurt. And then they recorded that section of the video. And that's the section of the video you see online where my uncle is pleading with them. They cut and doctored that part, and then they used it to get sympathy from the public. So we were there until my father and the entire family came. And they now started telling my father that they were driving and they saw a mob attacking our bus, and they came to intervene. And I said, which mob? We're using an institution's bus, and there's no one in Tamale who doesn't know Red Clay. And it's painted all over the bus. And if you say there's a mob, why is it that there was not a single scratch on the bus? And if you say there's a mob, why is it that the officers who were wearing uniforms were the ones that broke into the car to assault us? So if you are coming to help us, you now beat us up and take us to the police station and continue beating us up. Isn't it the hospital that you take us to? So that was actually what transpired. So subsequently we tried, because when we were there, one of the significant things that happened was that we wanted to, we had to make a statement. And then my older brother, who is a medical doctor at the hospital, said, don't you think that we need an attorney in order for us to be able to make a statement? And they got really, really angry. And it was Jelly himself, that they are just trying to consider us to let us go scot-free, and now we are trying to bring lawyers into the matter. So at that point, the pains I was in, my ribs, my tooth, I was bleeding. We just wrote, I wrote a brief statement, and then we left the station. And then subsequently, my uncle tried to follow up at the station, and they wouldn't let him come there to take a statement. They were even threatening him. And I remember when we were at the station, one of them even uttered a statement that if we joke, they will even kill us and nothing will happen. So the fact that some of us, we are doing, like we are making ourselves educated people, like that word crashing. If you don't take care, we will just use our booga booga and damage you and then go away and nothing will happen to you. By the time you call someone who is in power, we also know people that are in power, and this case will make the foolish case. And I said, at this point, sometimes when you get into these incidents, you just want to get your way out of it. So that was what actually transpired in that day, in the honesty of God, the God that I worship. So it was later that we went to the hospital, we did the checks, the regional minister came, the regional commander came, we went back home, and then we had to go with my brother-in-law, Professor Amin, the director of GBC, back to the regional commander's office to go and then take a fresh statement and to take pictures and everything. Because up until the point, even when they were invited to the regional commander's office, they had denied all the claims, saying that they came to meet a mob justice and they were intervening within it. But they were actually the mob. There was no one else, because everyone was trying to leave the mosque and everyone was trying to go home. There was a complete traffic jam. So no one really had time to do anything but just trying to focus and get into the house. So if there is anything, at least as educated as I am, at least in my sound mind, I know what I saw and what I experienced. So the point of they were not there, it was mob and then all these other things, it's absolute nonsense. I was the one that even closed the window of the car, because I told my uncle several times, I said, look, leave this matter. Because me, I don't want any trouble. I'm doing my work already, and I'm already struggling doing the work that I'm doing serving the community here. So I told my uncle, we just left the mosque. Let us just go home in peace. But the way they were banging the car, my uncle too was compelled to open the car and say, but why are you doing that? So that's when they started throwing their fists inside the car. So I would constantly come back and close the window and be like, let's leave this matter as it is. And then when I took out the phone to film, That's when they said that I was agitating them, trying to criminalize them by videoing what was happening in the moment. Are you also able to tell whether if your uncle... I said in the beginning that my uncle said that, oh, but the president will not be president forever. He will leave at some point. If you think that that is what you are wielding your power base on. And then I heard someone from the background say that, oh, then you are MPP people. And I think that's what they were using later to say that, oh, these people, they are traitors, and then they are MPP people, they are trying to destabilize. And then they even went further to say, when my father came, that because we said that the mob there, because they think Tamale is majority NDC, they jumped into it, and then they wanted to lynch us and beat us and burn the bus. And that's how they came to intervene and save us. And I said, no, but you were the one that, even the people who were standing around that were banging the glass with you, there were people that I saw with my own eyes coming out from the convoy that you guys were traveling in. They were all part of the same unit. Some of them were wearing police vests, but the others were not wearing police vests. They were just dressed in normal kaftan. So if they later say that those people were not part of them, then they'd have to produce those people, because all those people that were hitting the bus were people that followed us later to the station when they kept assaulting us. So if you said that those people were the mob, why is it that the mob followed you to the police station? And how is it that the mob was still instigating you and you were beating us? The mob was not arrested. So why can't you produce one suspect? If you say there was a mob and we identified that these people, if you say they were not wearing police vests, they were the ones that were causing it, why didn't you arrest them? Why did they go with you inside? And why were they the ones that even, some of them even took our kaftan because I had the blood, and they didn't want to film, because when they were filming my uncle, they didn't want me to appear in it because of the amount of blood that was soaked in my clothes. We sympathize. As I said, there was a Voxy behind us. There were so many cars in the vicinity. So certainly someone called my brother and said that, oh, I've seen them, the police manhandling your brother. There are people who attested to it. And also, one of them called someone. The evening, I was meant to travel to the UK because I had to go and give some lectures in some schools, from Cambridge to Oxford to the Royal College in London, and also continue to Helsinki for work, and then to Amsterdam, and then to South Africa before coming home. But all those trips have to be cancelled, and I don't think I can even travel for the next month, because the last few days I have not even eaten solid food, because my lips are all bruised, my teeth, 3 of my teeth are broken, I have sore in my mouth, the dentists were not working on the weekend. So currently it's put my entire life on hold. If there was anything, because the reason why we decided to stay in Tamale and in Ghana is because we felt like we have something to contribute to this country. So if at the end of the day, through these brutal actions, a lot of us young people and others will not feel like we need to stay in a place like this, then it's rather at the bad side of the country that we all love and we all serve. It's all about justice, because even in the work that I do, the reason why I brought Red Clay to Tamale was because I wanted to see some kind of cultural justice. Yeah, why can't we redistribute culture to people ordinarily and all that? Of course, we've heard many stories about this same unit and the brutalities. Even I heard this morning, I didn't even know about the Fancy Garam case and all the other cases and all that. And they've done so many things. That's why they could say that we could kill you and nothing will happen. So certainly there has to be some kind of justice. If this group has to be dismembered, they really have to dismember the group, because it's not a matter of they being in Tamale. They will go elsewhere, whether the Volta region or Ashanti region, and they will go and inflict the same pain and wound on other people, even if they don't go to the large extent of even killing people in that regard. Are you considering legal action? Certainly we are considering legal action. It's very important. It's a no-brainer. We have to do it, because it's not for me, but it's actually for everyone else. Because if this could happen to me, as known as I am, then what about the people on the streets? If they go for operation and then they beat someone up and the person dies of internal injuries, who's going to speak for that person? Exactly. So it's not for us, but we have to do it for the benefit of the collective society that we're in. You has never met him but knows of him. But my family that are here, they know him. But when I saw his face, I could recognize his face from afar. But I'd never seen him in person until that day, until the Saturday. I'd never seen him in my life. It was that day that I got to know. So when I saw him, after a while, that is when I recognized that. So in the beginning, when they were out, I quite wasn't sure whether he was the one. But it was when we went to the police station, when he introduced himself to my uncle, that he's Jalil, the leader of the Black Maria group. I was listening in the background. That's when I realized that. that indeed it was him.